Hello everyone. So today we'll cover chapter 4 of class 6 NCERT geography textbook, which is maps. So let's begin. Okay. So what is a map? I hope you have some idea about maps. Okay. So a map is a representation or a drawing of the earth surface or a part of it drawn on a flat surface according to a scale. So this is the basic definition of a map. So why I'll be learning about maps today? Because we read about globe already in our previous chapter, and a globe has limitations. Why? Because a globe can be useful when we want to study the earth as a whole, but when we want to study only a part of earth, as suppose you want to study about our country, states, districts, towns or even villages, it is of little help. So in such a situation we refer maps. Okay. So this is the definition of a map, which I already told you according to the NCERT textbook. And when many maps are put together, what we get is an atlas. You might be having an atlas, or you might be about to study an atlas in your present standard. Okay, so atlases are of various size, measurements drawn on different scales. So when we keep various maps together in a particular book, you get an atlas. Okay, so maps provide more information than a globe, because in maps we study everything in detail, right? So this is what a map is. Okay, so next, there are various types of maps basically. Okay, so in this textbook, in this chapter, we have seen there are three types of maps. Let's see the first one. The first one are physical maps. So what are physical maps basically? Maps showing natural features of the earth such as mountains, plateaus, plains, rivers, oceans, all the natural features of the earth. These are called as physical or relief maps. Okay, I hope this is clear. And now the second one is political maps. So maps showing cities, towns and villages and different countries and states of the world with their boundaries are called as political maps. In physical maps, you were seeing the physical features present on the earth, and in political maps, you are seeing the cities, towns and villages of the world and the states. Okay, and now the third type of map is the thematic map, which is given in your textbook. And what is a thematic map? Some maps which focus on specific information such as road maps, rainfall maps, maps showing distribution of forests, industries, etc. are known as thematic maps. So suitable titles are given on the basis of information provided in these maps. So these are based on particular themes. So these are called as thematic maps. Okay, I hope this is clear. These are the three types of maps. One is physical, second is political, and third is thematic map. Okay, so the next concept is there are three components of maps. First one is distance, second is direction, and third is symbol. Let's see what these components show us in a map. Okay, so this is distance. Okay, so what happens is, as you saw, we draw a map on a sheet of paper, okay, which reduce the entire world or a part of it to fit on a sheet of paper. So we can basically say that we can say maps are drawn to reduced scales. It can only be possible when a small distance on a paper represents a large distance on the ground. Okay, so therefore a scale is chosen for this purpose. So what is a scale then? Scale is the ratio between the actual distance on the ground and the distance shown on the map. So it will be helpful for you if I explain it with an example. So the example given in the book is the distance between your school and your home is suppose 10 kilometers. If you show this 10 kilometers distance by 2 centimeter on a map, then it means 1 centimeter on the map will be 5 kilometers on the ground. The scale of your drawing will be 1 centimeter equals to 5 kilometers. Okay, so you are showing that 10 kilometer on the ground between the distance between your home and school as 2 centimeters. So it will show the scale is 1 centimeter is 5 kilometers. That's why 2 centimeter will be equivalent to 10 kilometer, right? So scale is very important in a map, okay, because you have to draw a map in reduced scales, okay. So if you know the scale, you'll be able to calculate the distance between any two places on a map, okay. So when large areas like continents or countries are to be shown on a paper, then we use a small scale. For example, 5 centimeter on the map shows 5 kilometer of the ground, okay. So we have to take small scales for such big areas. It is called a small scale map. And similarly, when a small area like your village or town is to be shown on a paper, okay, then we use a large scale. That is 5 centimeter will be equivalent to something like 500 meters only on the ground, okay. So it is a large scale map, okay. So with a large scale map, you will get more data, okay. You can see things more clearly in comparison to small scale map. Okay, so this is what a small scale map and a large scale map is, okay. So this thing you must remember, that large scale maps give more information than small scale maps. This was the first component of a map. Now the second component is regarding direction. So as you all know, there are 4 major directions: north, south, east and west. They are called cardinal points. As you can see here, I have taken this diagram from the NCERT textbook itself. So this is the north direction, this is the south direction, this is the east and this is the west, okay. These are cardinal points. Other 4 intermediate directions are northeast, southeast, southwest and northwest, okay. Between north and east you can see northeast, between north and west you can see northwest, between south and east you can see southeast, and between south and west you can see southwest. What are these? These are the intermediate directions. We can locate any place more accurately with these directions, okay. And there is another device called as compass. As you can see the diagram of a compass here. What is it? It is an instrument used to find out the main directions: north, east, west and south, okay. So we can find out directions with the help of a compass also. It's a magnetic needle. This needle which is in the compass is a magnetic needle and it always points towards the north-south direction, okay. So direction is the second component of a map. First one was distance, second is direction, and the third one is symbols, okay. So this is the diagram which I have taken from the NCERT textbook, and this is basically map of a village. And regarding this diagram, there are some questions which have been asked, okay. Like we studied the component of direction, so it is asked here the direction of the community center from Vikas's house. So as you can see, this is the map of a village. Here is an orchard, this is the house of Karim, house of Sheila, house of Vikas, some shops, this is the post office, this is community center, a tree here and a playground here, a well here and a school here. Okay, so here it has been asked the direction of the community center, okay, from Vikas's house. So you can see community center is here in this yellow region and Vikas house is here. So on the top of Vikas's house you can see community center. So community center is in the north of Vikas's house, okay. So it is in the north direction. Similarly, another question is the direction of playground from the Vikas's house. So where is the playground? Playground is here and Vikas's house is here. So as you know, this is north and this is east direction. This is east direction. So from here, this direction is northeast direction. As we saw in the previous slide, this northeast, the intermediate direction, okay. So playground is in the northeast direction from Vikas's house. One more question is there, the direction of school from shops. Shops are here, school is here, school is in the east of shops, okay. You can see from here, east direction, this is the east direction, okay. So school, and when it will be asked the direction of shops from the school, so shops are here, so shops will be the west. Similarly, if it is asked the direction of Vikas's house from community center, so Vikas's house is in the south of community center, but community center is in the north of Vikas's house. Do remember this point, okay. So this was here. So moreover, in this figure, it has been given in the textbook about the scale. So there is a scale in this. Okay, as you can see, 1 centimeter is equal to 10 meters, right? So this is the scale of this map. Okay, so this is used for measuring the actual distance between the places. For example, it has been given that the distance between the well and the tree is 5 centimeter. The distance between the well and the tree is 5 centimeter. Okay, so what will be the actual distance on ground between the well and the tree? Since 1 centimeter equals to 10 meters, so 5 centimeter will be equivalent to 50 meters. So the actual distance on ground between the well and the tree will be equal to 50 meters. Okay, and similarly it has been given that the distance between post office to Karim's house is 12 centimeter. From here, the distance is 12 centimeter to the post office. Post office is here, Karim's house is here, so 12 centimeter is the distance. So what will be the real distance, actual distance on the ground? Since 1 centimeter is equals to 10 meters, so 12 centimeters will be equivalent to 120 meters. So the actual distance between Karim's house and the post office on ground is 120 meters. So this is how a scale is useful in a map. Okay, so this is it. And now we'll come to the third component of a map, which is symbol. Okay, it is not possible to draw a map the actual shape and size of different features such as buildings. You cannot take a building and put it on a map just like that. Not even can you show large lengthy roads on the paper just like that. So what we do is, for such different features such as buildings, roads, bridges, trees, railway lines, or a well, they are shown by using certain letters, shades, colors, pictures, and lines. Okay, so these symbols give a lot of information in a limited space. Okay, so what are these? With the use of the symbols, maps can be drawn easily and are simple to read. Okay, so maps have a universal language that can be understood by all. So there is an international agreement regarding the use of the symbols. These are called conventional symbols. Okay, so various colors are used for the same purpose. For example, blue is used to denote water bodies, brown is used for denoting mountains, yellow is for plateaus, and green is used for plains. Okay, so these are what are symbols in a map. So I told you about conventional symbols, right? Right, you can see here this is the international agreement regarding the use of symbols. So I'll show you the conventional symbols which are there. Again, this I have taken from NCERT textbook, this diagram. So you can see railway line are of different types like broad gauge, meter gauge, and for railway station. So this is the broad gauge symbol, this is the meter gauge symbol, and this is the railway station symbol. Similarly, if metalled road has to be shown in a map, it is shown like this with this symbol, and unmetalled road is shown with this symbol. Similarly, for boundaries, international boundaries are shown like this. You can see lines and dots here. Similarly, state boundaries are shown with this symbol, and district boundaries are shown with this symbol. Okay, so river is shown like this, and well, as you saw in the village map also, I'll show you again. Well, see, this is the international symbol for well in a map. Okay, it has been shown like this, so that is for well. Okay, and a tank is shown like this. Okay, canal is shown like this, a bridge is shown like this, temple like this, church like this, mosque, and chhatri. Post office, post and telegram office, police station. Okay, here also you saw in this village map, PO is for standing for post office. Okay, so that is the symbol, okay, in a map. And now this is for settlement, and this is for graveyard, and this symbol is for tree, and this is for grass. Do notice this colors also here, as it has been told here. So blue is used for denoting water bodies, and this particular colors for different purposes. Green is used for plains, and green is used for trees and grasses also with the symbols, along with the symbols, and these are the symbols used in maps. And now again this textbook diagram I have taken here, and let's see this map properly here. This is the map of Sundarpur village. Okay, so in this also certain questions have been asked in the NCERT textbook. Okay, so like in which direction is the river flowing? So as you can see the direction, this arrow mark, okay, so it is going south, but it is flowing in a direction west, southwest. So this direction in which the river is flowing is southwest. What kind of road passes by the side of village Dhumri? So this is the village Dhumri. As you can see, this settlement has been shown here with this symbol. And what type of road? So as you can see here, this is a solid line road. As you have seen here, it is stands for metal roads. Okay, so this is metal road, okay, beside village Dhumri. And also you can see these are unmetalled roads here also. Okay, on what type of railway line is Sundarpur situated? This is Sundarpur, and this is the railway line. This is broad gauge and this is meter gauge, as you know the symbols here. Okay, and now next is on which side of the railway bridge is the police station situated? This is the railway bridge, and police station is situated to the south of it. This is the south, okay, to the railway line. Okay, and again the question is on which side of the railway bridge is the on which side of the railway line do the following lie? Chhatri, this is the Chhatri, this is south, okay, to the railway line. Okay, and similarly it has been asked about church. This is church is to the north, and again temple, you can see it is to the south, and this is the church. Okay, so, this is the mosque, sorry, mosque is to the north. Okay, so river is to the south of the railway line, and post and telegraph office is again here south mein. Okay, and graveyard, this is the symbol for graveyard, it is to the south of the railway line. Like this you can understand with the help of symbols what it denotes. Okay, so again if you see this thing here, you can understand it stands for a graveyard. Obviously this stands for a chhatri, this stands for a temple, this stands for a mosque, this stands for a church, this is for a settlement, this green things are for trees, this is for a canal, and this is for a river, as you can see here. Okay, so this is the third important component, which is symbols. So we saw three important components. First one was distance, second one was direction, and third one was symbol. So this is it about maps. And now we will study something which is called as a sketch. So what is a sketch? Okay, a sketch is a drawing mainly based on memory and spot observation, and it is not to scale. Remember, it is not to scale. Sometimes a rough drawing is required of an area to tell where a particular place is located with respect to other places. For example, suppose you want to go to your friend's house, but you don't know the way. Your friend may make a rough drawing to show the way to his house. Such a rough drawing is drawn without scale and is called a sketch map. Okay, so for example, I have taken one sketch map here. It is not given in your textbook, so you can see it here. So suppose this is a random sketch made by someone. Okay, so this is not according to some scale, this is just to show the directions. Suppose you have to go to library, so like somebody will stand here, so they will say from junction either you can go straight, take a right, and you will cross the city block as well as the landmark of cafe, and you'll reach, and again then you have to turn left and you will reach the library. Okay, and again you can give another direction. From the junction you'll reach another junction, and then you'll cross a landmark of a cafe, and then from this here you have to turn left, and again then you'll pass through a clock tower, and then you'll move left and you'll reach the library. So random, this is a sketch, so it is not according to scale. Okay, so this is how you draw a sketch. And one more concept here is regarding a plan. So what is a plan? Okay, so a plan is a drawing of a small area on a large scale. Suppose a large scale map gives a lot of information, but there are certain things which we may sometimes want to know. For example, the length and breadth of a room, which can't be shown in a map. Okay, these things in detail you can't show in a map, so that's why we make a plan. At that time we can refer drawings drawn to scale called plans. So for example, this again I have taken from this is not from textbook actually. So this is suppose the floor plan of a house. So in this you can see the plan regarding the bedrooms, the kitchen, so from where the entrance will be, the porch, and the rooms and washrooms, all these things, and in that you can see the length and breadth and of each and every room. Okay, so this is a plan. Okay, so these are the various concepts covered in this chapter which I covered for you here. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask it in the comment section. This is it for now. Thank you so much.